Shemai, I'm going to take a look at this today, which is the Swiff Audio WS-70 Mini Digital Wireless System. So Lekato actually sent me this, along with a few other things that I've looked at. Yes, it's another guitar wireless system. Why did I want another one? Well, basically, we are trying to go wireless with the Ukumaniacs, and as I've discovered using previous different transmitters, they work with some instruments but not with others. So I'm just trying to work out what works best with our instruments. Now, I have been using this for a good few weeks now in quite a few different situations, but let's take a look at what's in the box. We have got some instructions in the user manual, quite a few different specifications and things. I'll pop those up on the screen in a moment. But inside the box, you can see they're a really nice green colour. We have got a transmitter and a receiver. So we've got the charging cable. It is a dual USB, in fact it's USB-C charging cable, so you can charge the receiver and the transmitter at the same time. And then there were actually a couple of reasons why I wanted to try again this particular system, and this is the first one I've certainly come across. Let me pop those down for a minute, which have got adapters, because if you actually look, and I'll come and hold this up a bit closer, hopefully you can see on there it is a mini jack, 3.5mm jack, but it comes with the adapter for a standard jack, and it is a screw on, so it is nice and secure. Okay, so it just means I can try it with different devices. That's one of the reasons I wanted to try this particular model. The other one is, you heard me talking about 5.8 gigahertz, 2.4 gigahertz. They're the frequencies these work on. This one is advertised as UHF, ultra high frequency as well. Okay, so a slightly different way of transmitting the signal. So I thought it'd be interesting just to see what these ones are like compared to some of the other wireless systems. So some of the features, up to 6 hours usage time they should work for in between charges, 30 to 50 meter transmission. Now, I have taken one of these out, the other Lekato one, out to the garden and tried it around there. It's miserable weather at the minute, but I have been using these in rehearsals and in a gig as well. So we have used them over a fair bit of difference. And just the fact I've used them in a gig means I have got a bit of confidence in them. Less than 2 milliseconds, so a very low latency, and supposedly up to 10 channels. Now, I've only got the one set of this, but we have used these with other wireless transmitters and we didn't have any issues. And I do like the fact that it's got this dual size you can use as well, standard jack and mini jack, which I will demonstrate shortly. As I've said before, I really don't understand or care about all the high numbers and specifications. I want to know where they work, but some of you guys do want to know, so I'll pop those on the screen right now. They're dead simple to use. They've got a button on the side, you hold in and it lights up. You do the same with the other one, hold it in, lights up, and then you can actually see that they've paired up. They flash until they're paired. If you want to know how much battery is left, you simply double click and there's a bar on there that'll show you 4 different levels of battery power. Right, let's try them with some instruments. So the transmitter goes into your instrument, the receiver goes into your amp. Switch them both on, so the lights are on, like so. Now, before I press the mute button on there, I've tried these with quite a few instruments, but not all of them. This one, I've not tried it with yet. This is my Snail electro acoustic. It has got a very basic preamp in here, so it is sort of active. Let's try it. So that's definitely working. It's got a nice clean signal on there. There's certainly no interference at all. So there we are. It works with an active electroacoustic. Another electroacoustic, this time though it has got an EQ or a little preamp built in because it's got a 9-volt battery. This is my Lekato. I've not tried it with this one either. Absolutely no interference. Not all of these, but some of these don't work very well with active instruments, and you can get some interference and some buzzing and all sorts of horrible things going on. But so far, so good. Passive solid body ukulele next. My gorgeous Flight Vanguard. Let's have a little look. Now, I've not tried it in any of these, or have? No, it wasn't this one I tried. It was the other Lekato wireless system. Let's have a little listen in. So yes, it definitely works with a passive solid body steel string ukulele. Right, now to try this with a few instruments I know can be a little bit awkward with wireless transmitters. So my Kala U-Bass electroacoustic, I couldn't use this with a wireless transmitter for a long while because none of them worked because this is active. So I was really nicely surprised when the other Lekato one worked with it, because suddenly it meant, oh, I could gig with this now. Let's try this, the Swiff Audio. Right, the reason I was doing that is there doesn't seem to be any interference. It's definitely working. There's no interference, there's no feedback, there's nothing making any horrible sounds. I'm just wondering how loud it is coming through. So what I'm going to very quickly do, I'm just going to... And I'm just going to swap out to put a cable in instead of the wireless. So I'm interested to know if there is any difference in the volume between the cable and the wireless transmitter system, all right? Because I really do want to know if these work so I can use them in gigs. So it does look like the Swiff Audio WS-70 works with my Kala. Brilliant. Another one that can be a little bit awkward is my Magic Fluke timbre bass. Oh, I'm looking forward to the new redesign of these as well. Let's try it. seems to be working. There's no interference. What I mean by that is very often, if you've got an instrument it's not working with properly. Hold on a minute. Ugh. Okay, that's going straight off. So we're plugged in. Oh, that doesn't sound good straight away. You get a sort of whiny or whining sound in between. Yeah, it seems to be working brilliantly so far, I've got to say. So everything you've heard so far, except for the Flight Vanguard, the electric solid body uke, has been a piezo pickup, but like the Vanguard, this is magnetic pickups, more like a traditional bass guitar. Now I knew this one worked because I've been using this a lot when I've been playing and practicing all the various basses over the last few weeks. I hope that's not rumbling too much, but yes, definitely works. And I can tell you now it works with all the passive solid body mini basses or U basses or bass ukuleles. And this is the last instrument that I want to try it with. It's my Carla, the Nick West signature model of the California U bass. And it is active with a piezo pickup and has not worked well in the past with some of the transmitters. It did work with the Lekato one. Let's see if it works with this one, the WS-70. Might just be a bit loud. I'm not hearing any interference or feedback or anything like that. It's not the cleanest. But that could just be some of the rattling because this is a bit of a beast when it comes to us. It's got a hot signal on here. In other words, it's coming through quite loud. So again, it'll be interesting to hear the actual recording. I did say last instrument. There is something else I want to try this with. I actually had the idea that if it has got a mini jack on it, I could use this with various electronic devices. Now I just need to do a little bit of fussing around behind me for a second. I'll explain why. Right, I've actually had a new amp quite recently. I have mentioned it a couple of times, but I haven't done a proper review on it yet. But this new amp has got an auxiliary in. In other words, it's got a second input for plugging things like iPads or MP3 players or phones and things in. So what I thought I was going to try today, right, here's my receiver. So I'm actually going to use this system to put my iPad into my amp. So the receiver is going to go into the auxiliary on my Warwick Gnome. And this, the transmitter, is going to go into my iPad. because I was thinking that there may be a time when I needed to put some kind of drum beat, or even if I wanted to practice along and I had a backing track on here on my iPad, which would go through my amp. Now, nearly all my other bass amps only have one input. So this is the first one I've actually had with an auxiliary input. So I've got my transmitter, I've got my receiver, and I'm going to switch my amp on. Now, the reason I haven't used this amp for the rest of the video should become apparent in a minute. It doesn't have a mute switch, and I've been plugging and unplugging so many things. So, right, I think we've got power on the amp. Let's see what happens when I press play on here. So that is now playing my backing track from my iPad. That's why I wasn't using this on and off all the way through. So it definitely works. It should, in theory, work with a second transmitter going from my bass into the amp as well. It's just they're all downstairs charging at the minute. I wasn't that organised. But the fact it's got this mini jack on there means that you can play it from other devices apart from instruments. Sorry, it just makes me laugh. So the WS-70 by Swiff Audio, and just to switch it off, you hold in the button until the light goes off, and it's flashing now because obviously not paired. Hold in the light until it goes off. All right, so there we are with the mini jacks on it, which means I can use it with things like iPads, phones, MP3 players, and also going in to the mini jacks on an amp or a mixer or something else. So that is the WS-70 by Swiff Audio, sent to me by Lekato. Thank you, Lekato. Yeah, another really interesting product. As I said, we have been using these in gigs and rehearsals now for a number of weeks, in fact, a couple of months. And I haven't found any interference with other different makes and models of wireless transmitters. As long, you do have to make sure that they're charged up before you play. There'd be nothing worse than one of these running out of battery mid-session. All right. So what have I used it with today? Well, we've tried it with electro acoustic ukuleles, active ones, and one with only a very small EQ in it. I've used it with a passive electric solid body ukulele, tried it with active electroacoustic bass ukuleles and U-basses, and passive magnetic pickup bass, mini basses, the Flight JB, and my Carla Nick West, which is really fussy when it comes to these. Plus, it works with an iPad, which again, as I said, was definitely one of the reasons why I thought I wanted to try this one out. So, WS-70 by Swiff Audio, available on Amazon. Make sure you check out any discounts though, or wait for it to be on sale. It works with lots of instruments. I will be interested to hear the audio back on just one or two of those. Whether or not it's making them go quieter, I don't know, but I certainly haven't noticed any feedback or horrible interference. I do hope you have found this video useful. As I said, said, we are loving using wireless stuff with Ukumaniacs at the minute now. It just makes life a lot easier, and if you can trust certain things as well, it means you can get rid of an awful lot of wires. I do hope you've enjoyed this video. As always though, if you've got any comments or questions, please feel free, leave them below. Give us a like if you've enjoyed, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on new videos. Thank you for watching.